So K1llsen is going into this, I think, incredibly motivated because Spart1e, his opponent, he has what it takes to beat Spart1e in the past. But it's like you lot said, that he needs to really bring his A game because everyone is catching up. Everyone is at a level much higher than they were before, and K1llsen has to maintain that consistency too.
Yeah, I think that truly is one of the bigger pictures, right? Is as good as K1llsen was, and the fact that he has his name on the belt, it's that matter of consistency isn't enough anymore, right? You have to do so much more. Coming into this, obviously, versus Spart1e, I would favor him. And looking at the picks and bans, there's not really anything that throws a massive spanner into the works. You've got the vintage play, which is K1llsen on Nyx, a champion that he thrives with and loves to bust out at times. And there's also a Sorlag coming out from him at the end. Other than that, it looked quite standard.
Yeah, I think both of these players traditionally play a very standard play set anyway. K1llsen might have adapted slightly more than Spart1e to the, I guess, the meta of great champions, occasionally pulling out Slash and things like that, but there are still a core group of players that have their comfort and playstyles built around the traditional physics of what we saw in Quake 3 and Quake Live, rather than playing on the stack advantages or anything like that. So it's kind of more traditional meta, and they play a very basic level duel, if you will, in terms of the positioning. It's a bit more classical than some of the other players out there.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, it does seem like we're ready to get underway with this series then. Spart1e will try and take down K1llsen. Will he be Railson? Will he be turning up, going absolutely ridiculous on the server? Let's find out how rambunctious he is going to be looking as we move into Blood Covenant, a best of 3 between these two. Catch up, Flea. Let's get into it.
I mean, Spart1e has already had to kind of re-earn his stripes once again. He was able to survive that initial phase, and now here he is going up against one of the absolute best players in the business with K1llsen, a QuakeCon champion, looking to become a 2-time champion in the Pro League. We'll see if he can get one step closer.
Yeah, I do think that's a big question on everyone's mind. Who will be the first player to get his name on the belt twice? So far, 3 players have managed to win one of the stage finals, but no one has been able to do it twice. And I think a lot of people are looking at K1llsen to maybe be one of the first to do so. But of course, first he has to make his way through Spart1e, who so far is relentlessly dealing damage with the railgun. K1llsen, of course, playing Nyx, quite a difficult small target to hit. But he does have that mobility to work with. Doesn't have a railgun though, and I think Spart1e is well aware of this.
Yeah, Spart1e did so much damage at the very beginning that it kind of forced K1llsen away. He wasn't able to go straight towards rail. Definitely decided that would have been far too predictable of an angle to hit at the same time, but Spart1e keeping his objective, keep K1llsen away from the rail. This is K1llsen we're talking about. His rail is absolutely ridiculous when he's on form, especially on Blood Covenant. This is the map you don't want him to have it.
Absolutely, Railson might come out to play again. Oh, the rail from below, using the Ghost Walk just in time to avoid getting an early death right there. Both major items are up right now. It's definitely Spart1e who's in control of the map, leaving them up, looking to do a bit more damage. Looks like it will be the Swede heading for heavy, whereas K1llsen will content himself with the mega health on the other side of the map. But look at that delay from Spart1e. Still hasn't picked up heavy, put 7 seconds between them, so hopefully if he can continue dealing this amount of damage, he can very easily chain both of them together in the next rotation and continue his dominant run of the map.
I gotta say, Spart1e in a very short space of time has found some insane angles on K1llsen so far. I know it hasn't resulted in any frags, but the kind of straight off the starting line speed that Spart1e's brought to the table, and kind of got a couple of one-ups over K1llsen so far. It's a nice form. And if Spart1e can continue, he could absolutely bring K1llsen to his absolute limit.
Looks like we're shaping up to get a pretty slow-placed opener. K1llsen finally starting to dish out some damage of his own with that railgun. Actually having the stack advantage right now. Both players slow walking. Here we go. K1llsen gets to drop instantly into the Ghost Hawk. Very nice and quick reaction from Spart1e, knowing that that was more or less the only place for him to be safe, was to get out of that bottom area of the map by rocket jumping straight up, knowing of course that K1llsen, while in the Ghost Hawk, can't follow him out there.
Spart1e has been very reaction heavy in the start of this map, but his reactions have been on point. Hasn't put himself into a horrendously unfavorable position just yet. There was elements of a rail angle there, but definitely seemed like quite a difficult shot that late on. K1llsen's going to snap up that mega as the heavy gets taken at the same time. Ooh, that rocket's less for damage and more for information. Now K1llsen's looking to set up something else. A little bit of that tri-bolt spam, the patience from Spart1e to just sit and wait for the rail, and the rail rears its head. And now, kind of going back to that very, very ranged and rail-heavy game. This is kind of what you can grow to expect. Like Spart1e, his aim has been great today. He's been able to play well enough to reach this point, and you know K1llsen, if we're on Blood Covenant, that rail is going to be his best friend. Misses the shot though. Minimal damage on the tri-bolt, not so little on the second burst, but there is a rail. K1llsen has to watch out for his stack. Oh, good rocket! Oh, the double jump, cute stuff. I like it.
That was a beautiful play from K1llsen. Both players pretty low, and it will be K1llsen, the German, to find the angle. Spart1e even shouting out the nice one at his opponent, and that was indeed a beautiful rail. That's one of the reasons why they call him Railson. And he's just gonna continue this reign of terror. Can he find the final kill shot? He can, he will! Spart1e goes down once again, and K1llsen setting himself up for a nice lead already.
You can tell Spart1e's played out of this world to even reach this point in bracket, but K1llsen is forcing Spart1e to take it to the next level still. Dire Orb for the distraction. He was able to get the heavy, much safer. The benefit of Ranger on this map, the kind of two birds with one stone effect that you constantly have with different items. But the 2-frag lead does belong to K1llsen so far. Gets the rocket, but not a huge amount of opening damage. Does hit a rail though. That's going to force Spart1e on the back foot, and no interest in sticking around. Can he escape? Unfortunately, the second he went down into that staircase, that was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. For a spawn trap. He almost sees it.
Yep, he definitely got the read down right there, but Spart1e knew exactly what K1llsen was looking for. Waited it out a bit and then took advantage of perhaps a slight lap in K1llsen's attention right there to get out of that little corner. Right now, we're about 5 minutes in, halfway through the match. K1llsen definitely the one dishing out most of the damage, and Spart1e is just looking for a way in. Definitely the larger target of the two, so he has to keep that into account when going for these long-distance rail fights. They heavily favor K1llsen.
And at the same time, you know, it's K1llsen, he's one of those players that is so good at clocking on an opponent's playstyle over the course of only a few minutes. At the start of things, the safety of the teleporter. Spart1e not ready for the reverse teleport to get that super shotgun to the backside. Thank you very much for that. But what I was going to say is that one thing I always notice about K1llsen is just how quickly he can adapt to a specific player's playstyle over the course of a few minutes. At the start of this round, it kind of like K1llsen had to take a couple of minutes to warm up to the angles Spart1e was looking for and the rail angles he was looking for. Hit a couple of them, and it put K1llsen in a weird situation, but look at how much of a hold over things he now has. And now it really looks like Spart1e is the one that's struggling to get that edge. The double rail, that was a confident play, and confidence he will receive.
That could have very easily gone wrong for K1llsen though, but luckily for him, his aim is on point, landing both of the rail shots right there, forcing Spart1e down one more frag. 5 points of a lead for K1llsen, still peaking even though he's regulable. He's definitely feeling more confident than he did towards the beginning of the game, starting to get himself revved up. The focus that he's so well known for is there, but Spart1e, okay, making some moves happen of his own, landing a shot. I just don't think that Spart1e has got the same knowledge of the item timings as his opponent does. Mega is up right behind him. I don't even know if he understands that it's there. We'll figure it out now.
Oh, he does know now, and it took him a decent chunk of time to get all of those resources that he's looking for as well, with the rail and the LG in hand. Now the rocket, all three of them ready to rock and roll, but we are looking at the timer now, aren't we? 3 minutes on the clock, K1llsen with a 4-frag lead. Ghostwalk is ready to go, using it to escape. Spart1e out of armor. Very scary position, and K1llsen with another rail to shut down the Dire Orb. K1llsen's playing so well today.
The shot of the spawn this time around, yep. Going for it once again. This time Spart1e unable to dodge it. Oh, missing the shot aimed at the feet. Both players going for a bit of rail damage. Spart1e did take heavy, but he's suffering so badly for his decision to go for that item and putting himself in such an unfavorable position. But of course he has to start making some big moves. There's 2 minutes left for 5 frags, and Nyx is a slippery target. So difficult to get a hold of. And K1llsen still not plus backing, still keeping a good presence on the map,
Oh,
going for these
gravy.
items. He's just styling on Spart1e right now.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
plus forward with the railgun, the wall jump to finish it. Why the hell not?
These are some message-sending rail shots from K1llsen where he's like, you know what? I'm so confident I'm going to shoot the shot with the rail while I'm jumping into you. So even if this misses, I am especially screwed, and I'm still going to hit it. How about that?
Did something change in the meta in between maps? Like, is rail all of a sudden a close combat weapon? Because K1llsen most definitely is making it seem that way, but Spart1e got a good positioning right there, managing to dodge out of the way in between shots, dishing out some damage of his own. There we go, K1llsen railable. Spart1e not all that stacked himself. With a minute and 30 seconds left to go, this is starting to look so dire for K1llsen. Spart1e, rather.
I mean, we're seeing so many rails, you'd think the Quake Pro League was Instagib now. Look at that, another one.
Yep.
I guess we're going to get a few more before the end of this map. Definitely easy to assume that we have reached that eternal point of no return for Spart1e, who just has so much work to do and no time to get it done. K1llsen's not going to make it easy at the very least. Here come the rockets. Now, really, actually impressive dire orb. I know he died there, but getting that dire orb angle from down there was pretty sweet. The 1 minute warning is ticked off. K1llsen's going to be one map up on Spart1e. Spart1e looked fantastic in the first couple of minutes where he was able to establish himself, get some of those rails on deck. They didn't really amount to much, sure, but the second K1llsen really just locked his horns into things. It really was seemingly quite difficult for Spart1e. K1llsen's accuracy was a huge extension to that, it seems. Just look at how many of these ridiculous shots he's able to hit. Now, some of these are, you know, victory lap kind of shots at this point, but even when they mattered the most, the rail was the star weapon. And do we expect any less of K1llsen?
Absolutely not, living up to his nickname of the Railson. I'm very curious and looking forward to seeing the railgun accuracy stats at the end of the game, because K1llsen has absolutely been pummeling Spart1e with that weapon. 5 seconds left on the clock. It's over and done, and that will be a convincing first map victory for K1llsen. Spart1e, despite his 3-0 win earlier today, still struggling against one of the best players in EU, even the world.
Let's check out some of that accuracy. Yeah, I mean, considering how many rails he was able to shoot, I think 52% is not too shabby, is it?
52% out of 51 rail shots.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the damage. K1llsen did 2.1k damage with the railgun, and everything else was below 500 points of damage. His railgun did, I don't know how much, but more than half of all the damage he did that entire game, and that's pretty insane.
And all the way through, over the course of a 10-minute map, that was one of the first frags that really kind of set Spart1e off. That second frag was just for style, but yeah, from that point on, the momentum belonged to K1llsen, and there was no way to take it away from him. And how many times now do we see K1llsen face off against a player with a unique style or something that would otherwise take a lot of players by surprise? And maybe you can get that first map on them, but as we can see here in all these different highlights, the second K1llsen really kind of just figured things out. That really was all she wrote, because he now has that perfect kind of just, you know, like clockwork sequence around the map, taking all the items that he wanted, hitting the rails when he knows, okay, well, I'm going to have a rail angle now. Oh, you want to take a rail fight with me? Great, I'm just going to hit more shots than you. Everything about what he did there was efficient. 100%.
Yeah. It's important to note that Spart1e did have a pretty decent start, though. It's not as if K1llsen just absolutely steamrolled him the entire night through. Up until a few minutes in, it was actually pretty close, neck to neck. Spart1e was doing a really good job at keeping a close catch on things, but then K1llsen, just once he got going, once that railgun started firing up, he got a nice string of kills before his opponent was even able to really get a hold of any weapons or items, and that just cemented him to take it away for the rest of the map.
As we can see, looks like we're going to be loading into our next map very, very soon. But with how impressive K1llsen was playing, even in map 1, a lot of the stuff he was doing there was just super clean. The kind of stuff you can take away and think, well, it's fair to assume he's going to look very similar in future maps. With that in mind, I'm kind of worried for Spart1e, because it's not even like Spart1e played bad on that map. It's that K1llsen just was playing almost perfect for the entire 10-minute period, that clearly this guy is on top form today. And when K1llsen's on top form, this guy's been able to win Quake cons before. So fair to assume we might even have a 2-0 on our hands if he can play like that again.
Absolutely. I think that is going to be important for Spart1e to adapt to that railgun dominance. He's seen exactly what K1llsen can do with that weapon and how much of his damage was caused solely by the rail. So hopefully he'll be able to adapt to that and maybe just focus on not going for the long distance rail engagements, but rather try to focus on a more close-up, close quarters game where he uses shotgun or rockets instead.
Looks like we're loading in. Awoken it is. A very combat-heavy map. And that is one of the things I'm concerned about. Concerned is the word I tried to use, but I somehow made up a new term in the middle of it. Let's go. Second map, Awoken. Looks like we're checking out Spart1e first, but K1llsen spawns near the rail, and sometimes that's all he needs.
Spart1e though, immediately trying to do some damage and apply pressure. Doesn't want to be put on the back foot again, the way that the last map ended. He still needs rail himself, he still needs LG. K1llsen right now has got all the weapons in the world to work with. Spart1e just trying to keep his opponent at bay for now. Both players, no one ready to commit just yet. Trying to determine how their opponent's gonna go into this. That's a nice, cheeky opening rocket coming out of Spart1e. Quick 60 damage. Punishes away the Mega too. Good start. And now K1llsen. Going to do something that we've seen him do a lot. He just takes control of the center area of the map. That T position, that small armor there. And then just kind of sits on it. Because that's such a powerful position where you can direct the flow of the game from. And just hear where your opponent's going and react accordingly.
Yeah, K1llsen does indeed play massively on those audio cues. Especially when we saw some of those rockets come out there. The Mega's going to go in the favor of Spart1e. K1llsen's going to be more than content with that. Looks like they had a pretty even split on the two important items. And similar to a Blood Covenant, we are going into that kind of reserved game at first. Neither player wants to give up too much of the map. Definitely safe to assume that whoever can hold the center of this map is have a pretty strong advantage, especially if you can start getting some damage on deck. Oh, he's going to get rid of that turret. The turret's going to spell a little bit of information for K1llsen. Another totem's going to get dropped if K1llsen does want to hold the center of this map. That does leave up kind of banana free for a couple of totem drops, so... Oh, that tri-bolt certainly didn't tickle, but the rockets from K1llsen have been really good, taking away the armor of Spart1e. The opening damage on the armor... Sorry, the tri-bolt was pretty good, but as I was just talking about totems, they have been taken out. Important for K1llsen to make sure he's getting rid of those. They can stack up much faster than people will expect sometimes. We've seen it time and time again, Flea, in Quake Pro League. Those totems matter a great deal, but the damage coming out from K1llsen again.
Sending up the turret first just to distract his opponent a bit and force Spart1e to divert his attention between two targets, allowing K1llsen to get away with the Mega. But hang on, Spart1e doing so much damage. K1llsen really low. Is he going to push in? He should. Spart1e absolutely has to push his advantage. He figures it out and gets himself the first frag of map 2.
I did really like that turret dropped purely to soak up a rail that allowed for a free jump pad. I know ultimately didn't help K1llsen survive, but I did like that little play. Similar to using a Pika to absorb a rail to catch the enemy when they're in the middle of the downtime. That's not good news for Spart1e. The rail knocking him back onto the jump pad. This is K1llsen we're talking about. She hasn't got that added air mobility. She was a sitting duck for a second shot. Thankfully, he's still pretty healthy.
Yeah, got that heavy to work with as well as his own totem to stack him right back up. And now Spart1e. He knows he's got that one frag in the lead. That's definitely not enough to run away with for the rest of this 7-minute game. But still, he's going to play at least a bit more guarded going into the rest of the map. Listening out for his opponents. Probably figured out that K1llsen's somewhere around the center of the map at least. And I hear the rockets and actually land a bit of damage himself. As he walks away with the heavy. Both items are up at the exact same time. No split between them. Gonna make it very difficult for either player to get a hold of both of them, so we're probably going to see this passive game style continue for at least one more rotation of the items.
It's a bit of a indication over K1llsen players much preferring the heavy over the Mega in a lot of cases, especially on a map like this. You hold a pretty decent chunk of the small items if you need to disengage, kind of like what Spart1e did here to look for the angle. But as long as you have a totem in hand, you have that health on tap. If you have armor and health whenever you want it, it can make K1llsen so deceivingly tanky. And it's no wonder that we see K1llsen players really prioritize this half of the map when we see them play on Awoken.
Yeah. Because if you can get your totem set up, there's no need to go for Mega. You want Heavy instead, because you've got your own Mega health in your pocket with those totems. Now Spart1e, I believe he was in that corner of the map for over a minute. Finally, he moves out of it, making his way onto Banana towards the LG. And I think he might be forced to give up Heavy to K1llsen. K1llsen's got the better angle onto it. Spart1e really playing this passively for a map as small as Awoken, and that could easily get him in trouble later.
It's showing a nice amount of discipline from him. The stones to do this with K1llsen. He's done it for 5 minutes. Can he do it for 5 more? K1llsen's going to spring the aggression. He catches one sight of a missed rail, and Spart1e has to run for his life. Ah, K1llsen jumps back with the Mega. A turnaround right there. A little bit of a heartbreaker there for Spart1e, who really has been working his backside off for those 5 minutes.
Yeah, a bit of a fakey there, pretending to leave up the Mega. Spart1e saw it and just couldn't resist the shiny, sparkling Mega in front of him. Went back around for it, but K1llsen was of course waiting to punish that, heavily so too. And now K1llsen has a slight stack advantage, but he's got the better positioning and the rotation is in his favor. He's going to be able to take Mega, set right back up in the center of the map, as he's been doing a lot throughout Awoken, and then have first pickings when it comes to heavy spawning as well. It's going to be difficult to break for Spart1e.
Yes, opening damage is the magic word again. Finally shuts down that jump pad totem that's been there for quite a while. Hasn't made a huge difference though, obviously Spart1e hasn't been anywhere near it, but it's this idea that even now K1llsen is keeping his eye glued on the map. Sight of a single totem and he's going to take out, but it's a massive lead. Ooh, right as he hasn't got the rail out. The rail out Spart1e potentially would have taken a lot more damage in that situation. Doesn't quite get the rail. The ideas are there though, it does make me worry. There are some angles being given up.
K1llsen remaining in full control, but actually it's Spart1e that has the better positioning on the Mega, and a lot of good rocket damage coming out too. Spart1e now has a stack advantage, landing a beautiful rail. K1llsen has to get out, and that is giving Spart1e a nice angle back into control. And with just 3 minutes left on the clock, if Spart1e gets the lead again, this is a far more realistic situation for him to just run down the timer and wait things out.
Oh, that was a cute rail, and that one was even cleaner. This armor is going to make K1llsen at least be able to tank one, but he's still in a spot of bother. Spart1e's going to swap to the LG, the rocket launcher, to knock down away from the rail. This is quite hard to call, both players. Remember, it's 1 frag each here. K1llsen's currently up 1 map. This upcoming 2.5 minutes matters a great deal if you're in Spart1e's shoes.
K1llsen again playing from his safe space, his comfort zone, the center of the map. Spart1e looking for a way out. Will fight it through the heavy machine gun. By not doing any damage whatsoever, K1llsen's gonna get an entirely free heavy out of this exchange. And he knows that if he keeps running the map, cycling the items the way he has been, all he has to do is fight Spart1e in a bad situation just once. And that's all that is going to take for him to probably take home this entire series. Spart1e though, not rolling over just yet, continuing to put out a lot of damage with that railgun. It's exactly what he has to do.
Looking for more rail angles, but while the rockets go through the kill hole, I think that's going to be easier said than done. Spart1e, all things considered, minimal damage to get in and out with that heavy in hand. Some more tri-bolt damage to pepper through. K1llsen manages to snatch away the Mega. Watch out for the tri-bolt again. Minimal damage again. The combo rocket into rail looks good. And he gets the chase.
Oh,
turret to finish the job.
Yeah. And now,
oh dear,
really bad for Spart1e. Oh, 2 in a row. Adding insult to injury right there. K1llsen trying to catch his opponent off the spawn. He wants to seal the deal definitively. 1 more frag will almost guaranteed land him into the next round of this tournament. Now Spart1e making his way around Banana. Doesn't really know where K1llsen was at in that situation. All he's got is Tri-Bolt. The LG comes out as well, but K1llsen just has the stack and the weapon advantage. Spart1e is gonna go down again. There won't be a party this time as K1llsen just keeps extending his lead.
All it took was that 1 clutch frag. And then the spawns that follow for K1llsen to allow the snowball effect of Awoken to finally rear its ugly head. And it's coming from some great shots. The pressure that comes from it. The turret for the 2v1 action. And he's done so much work that Spart1e, for another time, it's too much work, I fear. 25 seconds for 3 frags. I mean, surely it cannot be done.
Especially not with a stack like that. When you're coming out of an engagement with K1llsen with 25 points of health, I mean, it's done. You just simply don't have the time. And now K1llsen just taking a bit of a victory lap around the map. Spart1e, he knows it's over. Still though, a valiant effort. Spart1e really kept it close, even more so this map around than the first one. And it definitely took a lot of effort on K1llsen's behalf to net the win.
Well played for K1llsen at the end of the day. I know that he's very much determined going into this, and obviously, as we've been able to see from those games, that he's looking just as in top form as we know from a K1llsen at a final situation. But I mean, still, shout out to Spart1e. Spart1e played well there.
Yeah, both players once again doing most of their damage with the railgun. Shows exactly how they like to approach their games. This time around it was a little bit more balanced though. K1llsen also doing 1.3k damage with the rocket, so not quite as extreme as the first map, but still very heavy rail use we saw this entire way through.
Wow, an absolutely fantastic state of affairs between K1llsen and Spart1e there. K1llsen really living up to the hype, of course. I mentioned rail1e, it seems like I had awoken him as he came out there wielding it like an SSG from the most part of that game. Looked ridiculous with the weapon and absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, and that's what happens when K1llsen feels good. You can see he was hugely confident, never looked phased at all, and unfortunately for Spart1e, he didn't really ever look like he had a shoe-in on the map. Yes, there wasn't really huge score lines either way, but at the same time, I never felt at all that K1llsen was pressured. So, all credit to K1llsen, as you guys said, he just played exceptionally well throughout.
It is this way that he adapts to people as quickly as he does, that Spart1e kind of looked like Spart1e might have had a little bit of an edge on K1llsen for the first 2 minutes of the first map, and then it was pretty much the K1llsen show from that point onwards. As you said, even though there were some frags exchanged by Spart1e to keep himself in the fight, particularly on Awoken, well, you know, within the early stage anyway, it's been K1llsen's way all the way through. Like, the second he starts hitting those shots, the second he starts laying on the pressure, like the moment that snowball effect of frags was locked in, like in 2 maps, K1llsen was just laying it on. Like relentless in how he caught you off spawn.
Yeah, and I definitely think that this might put at least some of the concerns and doubts to rest that people had coming into this map. We were just talking about how K1llsen just hasn't really been living up to his full potential in the previous weeks, but this was a very solid display. Yes, it wasn't an absolute top-tier opponent, but still, K1llsen absolutely bringing it and showing exactly what he's capable of.
Yeah, which is good in terms of how it bodes for the rest of the tournament, of course, because he is one of our competitors that currently has his name etched in the belt, right? Which has a lot of weight to it. That means we expect quite a lot out of him. So him being able to turn up to his first game and only drop 4 frags in total throughout the course of those 2 maps is a pretty big standpoint. It means that at least he's being able to live up to the mark. We just need to see if he can carry that on throughout the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and it was just a very K1llsen-esque gameplay, as Ryan pointed out. He adapted very quickly, and that's what he does better than most other players. And then it was super methodical. Just played the items, slow, positional, controls the game, and just slowly strangles you out.